Greetings, gamers. Welcome to part 24 of my Let's Play Fire Emblem 10, Radiant Dawn. And in today's episode, I begin the fight on Alincia's Gambit, the endgame of part 2. One of the more interesting chapters in this entire game.
Queen Alincia, I made it. Marcia. Thanks to General Jeffrey, we spotted an ambush on the main road and snuck by on the old highway instead. The Royal Knights will be here soon. I flew ahead to tell you. And to serve up some traitor pie on my lance. Thank you. I'm impressed you made it back so quickly. My pleasure, Your Majesty. Now, which monkeys do you want filleted before the Royal Knights get here?
Alright, so the Royal Knights reinforce. I believe it is either turn 9, 10, or 12. I know it's not very distinct, but they reinforce over here. Right here is where an arm scroll can be found. I would like to get it. I'm actually hoping to play this chapter out for the defense of it. However, I would also like to defeat Ludwig, so it's going to be kind of a wild ride. Now, granted, Haar here is going to be promoting this chapter. He is very close to promotion, and he has some pretty fantastic stats, much higher than he did. I also decided to give him the talisman, so he would have a +2 resistance. It does stink that that's the case. I would have preferred to give it to a certain character in part 3, but I'm pretty sure you get more talismans, and there is most definitely a way to make sure that character has max resistance. So I just said, forget it. Haar is going to get that. He needs it for now. Now, granted, any of these Thunder Mages are going to do pretty significant damage to him with or without that. But once he promotes, that should be a little bit different. Hopefully. Leanne is a key player in this, I would dare say. One thing you do want to do is make sure that you are adequately guarding both this side and the other. You do have a meteor. I'm not opposed to necessarily using that, but I am also not going to use it right now. And I could also use a Legu Stone, but the Legu Stones are kind of worthless on units like that. Alright, so Javelin sounds perfect to me. Smack you a couple of times. I'm going to move you here. I'm also going to come here and use the Olive Grass with Nelucci, so he can be of some assistance in this chapter. You do have to be very careful, though, leaving your units that are flying near ledges, except for Haar, of course, because he's not scared at all by things like bowguns. But this bowgun will pose a significant threat to both Nelucci and Leanne. I am going to be placing a unit right here to guard. Most likely Nephany. I can see that being a really good idea, at least for the time. Alright. Moving right here. 22 times 2. Nice. I will get the Nullify. This is actually going to go to the convoy, unfortunately. I could send something else, though. That's not a terrible idea. In fact, I'm going to send a Vulnerary. (21 times 4). How much damage are you doing? I actually think it's a really good idea to take this guy out. There's no other archers that can reach her. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Yeah, Alencia is perfectly capable of doing some good old defending and attacking in this chapter, even if she is vastly weakened by the fact that there are a lot of bow units all around. Haar doesn't have to suffer this supposed penalty, but he does have to deal with the potential of multiple thunder mages just utterly ruining his day. And these guys will go over here and attack the doors to their heart's content, basically. Alright, so she can no longer be affected by that bow user. Nice. I'm probably actually going to put Nephany there, because it makes more sense. Come to think of it. Surprising that an axe wielder just hit Alencia, but it does happen when you're low on biorhythm. Again, I'm not super fond of mechanics like biorhythm, just because I think it adds a type of... It doesn't really add anything good. There are some people out there who would probably argue that it adds some realism to the game a bit. I think Fatigue and Thracia does that far and away better than having an arbitrary you're better at this turn but worse on the next kind of thing. Yeah, Haar should be perfectly fine. I am very excited to see him promoted. Ooh, and he dodged both Thunder Mages over here. Nice. I'm going to be able to send him to the center pretty much right away. Granted, the boss, if he moves and attacks Haar and dies to Haar, that would not be great. But I do want this energy drop as soon as possible, so there is also that to take into account. A lot of these guys do have 2 range. I think if I'm going to come over here, it is for the best to continue using 2 range. And he canceled. Nice. So Nephany can go right here. She's not going to exactly attack. I don't need her to, don't want her to. But what I will do is attack you. And then I will go right here, converse, who cares. Let's use another Holiday Grass. And then converse, of course. And then I'm going to Gulger for both of you. Alencia is going to be healing up. Okay, so there's no other bow users around, which is good. I'm going to shift, attack this rebel. He can stay here for the time being. And then I can physic up Haar. This guy has a steel lance. I would actually kind of like him to attack Alencia while she's equipped with the physics staff. I think that would be kind of funny. How much damage is he doing though? 27, 18. He's doing 9. Alencia has 19 health. He's also doing 9. It would probably be best to not have her in range of both, but should be fine. If not, I can always restart. I'm not opposed to such a thing. Marcia can come over here and assist with the right-hand side. And I think that is going to be my turn. Alright, so totally forgot about the fact that I do have a couple of physic healers of my own. So once these guys have moved in such a way that they're defending the right side enough, which is going to be this turn actually, I'm going to be halting them so that they no longer move. Reason being is because they clog up spaces, and I don't want them clogging up anything. Very nice. Ooh, another dodge. Fantastic. Haar is going to end up using all of his ranged weapons pretty much this turn. And is that a promotion? Oh, so close. He just needs one more attack. The day is upon us, a day that will stand proudly in the history of Crimea. Today a weak queen falls and a new king prevails. So Ludwig does move. Intriguing. If it wasn't for the fact that I really want that energy drop, I could just KO him next turn. Especially with my newly promoted Dragon Lord Haar. Yeah, I don't think you were going to do anything with that, bud. Your little bow does not threaten Haar. At the very least, he is taking out most of the ranged units this turn, which is definitely appreciated. No damage. Super nice. Now, he didn't actually hit twice against Ludwig, so he does have a spare use. And there you see it, the spare use. Now he's using the short axe, which he only has 5 of. 3 left. I am halfway of the mind to just complete this chapter. I think what I will do is first I'm going to obviously get the energy drop, but I think I'm going to be completing this chapter basically the turn after. It's a little bit short-winded. It's going to make this map a whole lot quicker than it necessarily would be normally, but I think it could be a great benefit. Yeah, doing no damage with your steel bows. Can't do anything to my Dragon Master, or Dragon Lord. Fantastic bases in his promotion. Now, he does now come with the stun skill, which is awesome. In A rank in axes and an A rank in lances, I believe he double S ranks in lance, or in axe. And most of his statistics cap, I believe, well, his strength, skill, and speeds cap at 38, whereas his speed, I think, is 31 or 2, somewhere around there. So pretty wildly strong in comparison to pretty much any of your other units. I'm going to go ahead and smite you with the steel axe. That is an energy drop that will be very much so in handy. I'll put you there. Of course, I'm going to heal up Haar. He doesn't necessarily need it, especially because there is no more Thunder Mages over there. But I am still going to do so. The Physics Staff, obtaining that is one of the best things you get in this chapter, just because of how epically strong it is for its particular use. This guy has a crossbow, so you definitely don't want to be anywhere near him with your flying units. There is also another crossbow to my right. So of course, I am going to stay over here. I'm actually going to revert. This seems silly because I used a lot of Olivia Grass on Nalucci, but this is just going to mean in a couple of turns he's going to be helpful again. You can stay here so you don't get attacked. And I think I'm pretty well finished with my turn. This is looking like it's going to be either a 4 or 5 turn completion, depending on how well they surround my Haar. The arm scroll would be really nice to get, though. I'm still considering that. Plus, there is also the fact that I did want to test out my theory if Jeffrey does start with another Brave Lance. Wouldn't matter either way. Alright, so the rest of the units are blocking his path. I don't know exactly why a magic or a healing unit decided to go right to his right or left. He is most likely going to be healed here, though. And he wasn't? Do they not have physics? Is this serious right now? Mend. Yeah. Wow. That's pretty incredible. Okay, 20 times 2. Look at the kind of damage he is doing to Alencia. This is after her defense. He's still doing 63. Crossbows are mighty deadly. Mighty. Alright, Leanne, you can move back. And this is a finished general. Yeah, so as per my thinking here, I think it's just for the best to go ahead and finish this chapter.
Alencia, I yield to you, please. You may imprison me. Your Majesty, be merciful, spare our lives. We surrender our weapons.
Yeah, if I was a little bit closer, I could have maybe waited on that square to potentially get the arm scroll, but it doesn't really matter, does it?
Queen Alencia, I'm so glad you're safe. Please forgive my tardiness. I've let you down. I'm sorry.
Ridiculous. You did no such thing, Joffrey. Thank you so much.
Without Ludwig at the helm, they're a mess. They're all running about trying to escape. As commanded, we are not pursuing fleeing soldiers, and Lord Ludwig is locked up in the dungeon. Queen Alencia?
Lucia is being held captive. If we're to save her, we need to talk to him.
Your Majesty, General, we've received a missive. It concerns Lady Lucia. Queen of Crimea, we demand that you release the Duke of Featherray. Refuse and Lady Lucia will die.
No.
Lucia. You have half a mark. If the Duke is not released by then, the girl dies.
Queen Alencia, Don't listen to them. Don't worry about me.
Gah. Quiet. You can die sooner if you like. Your Majesty, you can't. You have to let me do something about this. Lucia would willingly die fighting for her country, I know, but you have to help her, Alencia. If you were in her position, she would surely do the same. Please, just give the word. Hello, Your Majesty. By the look on your face, I can see my plan has been a success.
What exactly is it that you want? To throw our country into chaos?
No, I want to protect it, Your Majesty.
What?
Queen Alencia, you're so naive. Cold and callous decisions are sometimes required of a nation's ruler. I was testing you. We all wanted to know if our queen would have the power to stop a civil war. But no. You were too hesitant and too concerned about harming the people. Now look what has happened. The rule of Crimea cannot be kept in your hands. Please, Your Majesty, you must abdicate and cede the crown to me. And considering Lady Lucia's life is on the line, you haven't much choice. Now, let's have you free me from this prison cell, and then we can discuss my further details.
I don't think so.
What? Are you truly willing to sacrifice Lady Lucia?
Lord Ludwig, all your dissatisfaction and misgivings about me are well-founded. However, do you realize how many lives you've simply thrown away? Strength without compassion does not a ruler make. You care nothing for the people, sir. You cloak your desire to rule with petty speeches. But it is petty avarice nonetheless.
So this is how it shall be. Very well, but Lady Lucy cannot be spared without my order.
Allowing you to plant the seeds of rebellion and play havoc with the lives of my people is a failure for which I must answer. But I will see Crimea through this trial. I will give my people the future they deserve, no matter the cost.
Well played, Your Majesty. Indeed, I have failed. Yet I wonder, are you capable of watching Lucia die? Or will you crawl back to me, your face awash with tears, begging for mercy? How I pray to see that face, Your Majesty.
Rebel soldiers, hear me. Ludwig of Thelere, having conspired against the nation, will stand trial. As the Queen and ruler of Crimea, I refuse to negotiate with those bent on destroying it.
So, you're going to let this girl die?
Ha! I will be strong, Lucia.
Kick, scream, beg. Give us a show, wench. Your Highness, your trusted friend will now die. Let this burn forever in your memory.
People of Crimea, behold a true queen, your queen. Long live Queen Alencia.
Come on, do it. It's a clean shot. What's the problem?
I'm nervous. What if I hit her?
It's too late for nerves, Rolf. If you're not up to it, just leave it to the master, eh? Watch and learn. One clean motion. No hesitation. The Queen's men are attacking! Stop him!
Sorry. Always lost in your books. What have I said about watching your back?
Form up! Surround them all! Don't let a single one escape!
Queen Alencia, it's Sir Ike and the Grail mercenaries. They came to our aid. Now we'll get Lucia back in one piece. We've nothing more to worry about. I'll deploy my knights at once.
Sir Ike, if you hadn't come to help, I would have lost one of my dearest friends. Thank you. Thank you ever so much.
We were happy to do it, and Bastion pays well for mercenary work.
Bastion?
Yes, the Count of Fair knew about Ludwig's plotting before he left for Dayan. Bastion guessed that if he left the country, the rebels would feel confident enough to make their move. What else would you expect from Crimea's top tactician? Well, Crimea's most deceptive old dog, at any rate.
Yes, that's just like him.
Sorry that we had to stay hidden until the last minute. For a ruse like that to work, you have to deceive allies as well as enemies. I know you were acting in Crimea's best interest, but I'm sorry you had to let that happen to Lucia.
No, it worked out fine in the end. Please put it out of your mind. Lucia, Jeffrey, I value your lives more than even my own, but it's my duty to protect this country, even if that means losing you. I've learned a lot from all this. I hope to keep them out of harm's way, and I'll never make that same mistakes again.
Good to hear. So what are you going to do about all the escaped rebel soldiers?
The rebel army will be eradicated. We cannot allow them to sow the seeds of discontent among the people of Crimea.
That's the right choice. Would you consider contracting my mercenaries for the job?
No, Sir Ike. I'll leave that up to the Royal Knights. I'm certain this task will create anger among the people, and the Royal Knights may be resented for their role in it. But my duty as Queen demands that it be done. The people will have to learn to accept that.
I respect your devotion to duty. So, you don't need me then?
That's right. I'm going to move on, together with my vassals and the people of this country. Sir Ike, before you leave, there's something I'd like to talk to you about.
What is it?
When you heard from Bastion, did he say anything about Dayan?
No, nothing.
He informed me of a number of things. Apparently, Dayan's reconstruction is playing out much like Crimea's. He spoke of a new king raising the banner of war, and a charismatic young hero carrying it into battle. He compared King Peleus to me, and a silver-haired maiden to you. It's almost unnatural. He suspected that someone might be scheming, trying to manipulate Dayan. Bastion seemed quite suspicious of it all.
You know, and it's funny too, because I love the way the plot is contrived in this game, and how it molds around this idea. It almost does seem very much like Dayan is being rebuilt in the exact same way Crimea was, that the war is happening in the exact same way, and it does seem like people are scheming and manipulating Dayan. So Bastion went to Dayan to try and confirm his suspicions on that.
Yes, there was also something about Dayan's resurrection that we can't afford to overlook. The Black Knight.
What?
I'll never forget him. He was the one warrior who the late King Ashnard trusted. This encased in pitch-black armor, standing tall with a crimson cape. When the Liberation Army fought at the capital, he was there. He sided with the silver-haired maiden.
The Black Knight. The man who killed my father. But I defeated him 3 years ago, I'm sure of it. At the very least, he couldn't have escaped when Nado's castle came crashing down on him.
The day after you fought, Bastion ordered some men to search the remains of Nado's castle. There was no trace of the Black Knight. No armor, no sword, no corpse. If the Black Knight that was seen in Dayan was indeed the same Black Knight, he might prove to be a threat to Crimea.
If he's still alive, I have no doubt I'll see him again. Alencia, this is very important information for me. Thank you.
Of course.
Incredible, but I already knew that information. Part 2, Finn.
A great war begins, one that threatens to tear the land asunder. A hero sides with the Laguz and Justice. The Maiden of Dawn fights for the Bjork and Dayan. Their armies will collide, while the flames of the medallion burn brighter. Part 3, Intersecting Vows.
Alright, clear bonus of 3,000 experience points, so I'm not leaving part 2 with absolutely nothing to show for experience points, though I do believe the experience I used on Haar is more than sufficient. Then we enter part 3, Intersecting Vows. My favorite part.
3 years ago, Crimea freed itself from Daean tyranny. Its nobles used that freedom to berate the queen and scrabble for power. Disgusted with their greed and arrogance, Ike and the Grail mercenaries left the court behind and returned to work. Thanks to their efforts and to Queen Elincia's even-handed rule, Crimea has avoided a bloody civil war. Before departing the capital once again, Ike receives disquieting news from Queen Elincia. The Black Knight, the man who murdered Ike's father, has once again been seen in Daean. The Queen's words hang heavy over Ike as he leads the mercenary group back to their headquarters.
Grail's Mercenaries Fort.
Wow, how long has it been since we were here? It sure feels great to be home.
And to be at the end of this episode, yes. Unfortunately, part 3 is going to have to wait. I am so very excited because part 3 is by far my favorite instance of this game. My favorite part, my favorite entire section of Radiant Dawn. And if I were to scale them all on a scale of 1 to 10, part 3 would be a 10. Part 2 would be probably an 8. Part 4 would be like a 6, and part 1 would be like a 2. I really do not like part 2. I'm not really a big fan of part 4 either, but that's mainly because of story. I don't like the implications and the way that the story went from a more realistic and grounded story to a fantastical one. But again, like I've said before, I do appreciate that this game did do something at least a little bit different that wasn't heinous or totally ignorant, like for instance many of the modern entries of the Fire Emblem franchise. Very unfortunate for that one. I cannot wait to get into the Grail Mercenaries. What this does mean, however, is there's going to be a lot of talking about characters when I do return. So I want to thank you for joining me. If you like my content, please upvote and follow, or like and subscribe depending on your platform of choice. And while you're at it, have a great and glorious day gaming.